One.
One.
11.
3, 2. Okay,
One.
hello everyone.
Yay. We're back.
Woo.
We are back after a week of not playing.
Boo.
Well, over a week.
Boo.
Basically, this is our first game in 2 weeks. Hey, oh no, in 1 week. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, how's everyone doing? Good, ready to go?
Good.
Yeah,
Melting, but
pretty
otherwise
spicy.
Yeah, I'm so warm right now, but I will think about happier things like the terrible wilderness you're traveling through. Right. Well, then anyway, in that case, if everyone's got a drink and is ready to go, we'll get started then. So, last we left off, the Clive Five had headed into the wilderness of Shore Kraal, seeking the path to the Spiderlands, so that Gira may be reunited with his holy hammer, which is currently in the possession of Zrik Sarak, the Spider Queen. However, on your travels, you also began to track a werewolf, which was responsible for the murders of a number of dwarves in a nearby town. And you were promised by two rangers that they would guide you through the wilderness to the Spiderlands if you helped them out and discovered where the werewolf was and helped in sorting it out. So you discovered the werewolf's cave, and it was revealed that it wasn't any ordinary werewolf, but some plot of foul magic to transform what was once an innocent dwarf into some sort of gnoll demon, which was also through cave art on the walls that the dwarf werewolf had drawn before his transformation sort of continued. It was perpetrated by your doppelganger, Scrimshaw, which the party have lovingly named Grimshaw. Upon scrying on the werewolf after it had escaped and you tracked it down the woods, you, Gira, discovered that he had been taken in by this doppelganger's magic, and the two of them somehow were traveling eastwards, seemingly on the route back to the Spiderlands. So you were faced, when you got to the troll caves where the werewolf was staying, with a choice, which was either to continue to track through the night to try and catch up, but you will also obviously have a disadvantage in that regard because you won't be able to see your way through the wilderness, or rest up and carry on with the trail early in the next morning. So what would you like to do?
I think last time we were erring on resting up, since it was quite far away to begin with.
Yeah, that was my understanding as well.
Okay, so so finding somewhere to sleep for the night. How did you want to manage that? Did you want to do a camp? Did you want to go back into Chinook's mansion?
Well, is your mansion available, Chinook? Or is that is that still there? Did we not cast it?
Hang on. How long did we spend in the mansion previously?
Like 8 hours.
Oh no, my mansion isn't available at the moment.
Ah.
I mean, how long do we? It's up for 24 hours since then, so it lasts for 24 hours, I should say. But I don't think that would be enough to give us a. How long do we want to rest?
Well, I thought it was just taking a rest through the night, right? 8 hours, approximately, give or take.
Oh yeah, well then it should be there still. We could definitely head back in for a sleep.
Is the mansion
That was
24 hours?
Well, you've travelled a considerable distance.
Oh.
So.
Yeah, I only have one of those a day.
Yeah, and then you rested. So didn't you get that spell slot back?
Oh, yeah. Hang on. Sorry, I was misreading everything. It's been a while.
Oh yeah, because you did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you do have it. You will have it.
All right. Yeah. I can give it a cast.
I had a momentary lapse of judgment. Okay, so you're going to cast that. What's everyone else doing during this time? Just waiting out the cast.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think just waiting so we can see it in the morning.
What says? Well, if you're casting the that thing again, can you could you have lamb for dinner?
You can have literally whatever you want.
I was just asking.
Yeah, sure. I can ask the servants to do lamb. Basically, just tell me at any point what you want to eat and or drink, and I can tell the servants to do it for you.
There's no limit.
No limit.
Tharaboth and Glamongly kind of just look at each other. No, we're on we're on important business. We can't.
Just so long as, you don't try and take it out with you.
Oh yeah, of course.
Otherwise,
turn
it'll
into
explode.
leaves. No, it just turns into leaves. I wish it exploded. That would have been much cooler.
Does that mean that when we leave, if we've eaten any food in your...
Oh
And-
yeah, the nutrition, it's still there. It's more of like a safeguard in case, say, you wanted to run away with my shit.
Very well.
You could just make more, right?
I mean, yeah, but like, it's just a safeguard. It's
Yeah, fair enough. Well, I for one could do with a good rest.
Been a long day.
Traveling through the woods, the wilderness always takes it out of me.
I think every day since I've known you all has been a long day, to be fair.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Irish.
We had a couple days off when we were in that in Erstwall. You know, when we like died and stuff, because that was like less of a day because you spent part of the day dead.
That was pretty relaxing being dead to be fair.
I mean,
Yeah,
Chinook
exactly.
and I.
IRL.
Chinook and I. didn't
What do you
spend
think?
any of the
Gothric
day
kept
dead.
dying. You just wanted to relax.
It's just
for a
lazy.
bit. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that was the best sleep I've ever had.
Like politics really got to him. He just wanted to have a nap.
Mhm.
I suppose it is like the ultimate relaxation, right? Isn't it?
Yeah.
All right. Well, that being said, the door to the mansion appears before you all, and one by one you step through back into the lovely scenery of Chinook's sort of fairground rather than mansion. But
It's a garden-y thing with secluded rooms in places.
yeah, does it have public toilets?
It has toilets.
Okay. Just wondering how that works.
It's like ensuite. Like everyone has like a special toilet.
Shit, they have their own towels.
Oh,
Yeah.
a special toilet? Is it one of those fancy Japanese ones?
Do
Yeah.
I don't know what Japan is.
It sings to you when you sit down on it.
Yeah.
When the moon hits your eye like a...
Yeah, one of those Ashmelin toilets.
Is that Japanese?
Is that Erstwhal? Not Erstwhal. Fucking
Ashmelin.
Japanese.
Yeah.
Is that Regidai? Or is it, wait, is Regidai Empire a thing? Don't think it is. That's not a thing here, right?
In history, it was.
Alright. It's a
They
previous thing.
turned. Yeah, they turned into the Commonwealth.
Ah, right.
Okay, well, that being said, yeah, what did you want to get up to tonight? Anything particularly, or just rest up?
have a meal, eat some
yeah.
food.
Yeah, I think just rest
Yeah.
up for
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just
Good.
rest up and get on.
Okay then. In that case, for the night you spend fairly relaxed, calm, and have a nice rest where you regain all of your scratches that you gained throughout the day traveling.
Wolverine style healing factor.
Yeah, we don't talk about that. We don't even recognize it. So the next day, you have you rise early, have a nice meal, and then exit the door back around where the troll caves were, with the trail, the sort of like few splotted blood puddles that sort of are leading you eastwards through the woods. Thorboth and Gamonglir immediately are on the trail, spotting occasionally bits of clumped up fur, claw marks on the trees, big footprints that weirdly the footprints, they're just like one of the werewolf's feet could fit maybe 3 or 4 of yours all in there. So after a few maybe a couple of hours of traveling. Oh, actually, what marching orders is everyone going in? Gamonglir and Thwarboth at the front again.
Oh, yeah, I'll be at
Uh,
the front with them, and then I think
Here
it
will
was...
be one behind the end, like one behind the person who's the back. I don't know who that is.
I'll go at the
Yeah, I
back.
think... Oh, yeah, at the back it's usually Scrimshaw
I think it's
or
usually-
Roxxon.
I think it's usually one of us, so that because we're speedy.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's put Scrimshaw back. I think that's better play.
Cool. All right. Well, so you're traveling. The woods at this part are not as thick and lush, really, as the rest of the wilderness. You notice that the terrain is starting to become more rocky as you get a more northern towards the Spiderlands. Because so you get after a few hours of traveling, Thorboth sort of signals to everyone to halt, and Gamonglir sort of rushes up to them, and they begin talking amongst each other. And then Thorboth turns around and says, "Come over here, have a look at this."
Saunter
have a look.
over.
Okay, so Gamonglir sort of takes you a little bit off the trail, and points up to a nearby tree, which is like a large oak tree, or something, very very large, with thick roots that sort of just bind the earth neatly together. Off one of the branches of the tree, there's this like weird, large sort of hanging layer of skin. What it seems to be. Maybe a foot across, and it's like soaked in blood. And you notice that there's just tufts of hair which sort of sprout off it. It was clearly snagged on the branch walking past, and must have effortlessly peeled off.
Ew.
Is that
Like we're heading in the right way.
is it shedding its flesh?
Well, like a snaky snake.
It's disgusting, whatever it is.
No, it's not disgusting. Mother Nature comes in many different shapes and sizes.
Yeah, and some of them are kind of disgusting.
Well, to you, maybe there's other
To
creatures
a
that
lot
find
of
you.
people.
In any case, I'd be remiss if I was not keen to find this poor soul.
Yes.
Yeah, the sooner we can put it down, the better.
I've been having a little think about that. What do we do when we find it to stop it from just turning into a gas and escaping once again?
Can't you put it in a cage like you did with the whale?
I could, but then we can't get in the cage. And
Why
after an
can't- why don't
hour,
you put
it will have regenerated, and we just have to fight it again.
Yeah.
I can make I can make 2 sorts of cages. So I can either make a mesh cage of sorts, kind of like a was like a wireframe mesh.
Like you did
very
with the
small
whale.
holes. I believe so. Yes. And some spells and such can flow in and out of there as long as something isn't too large a projectile. The holes are very small. But
Why don't we get
if it turns
like
into a
jar?
gas, it's just going to leave. The other one, a bit smaller, just solid box.
Why don't we get like a jar, and when it turns into the gas, we just hold the jar over it, and then he'll go into the jar, and then we have him trapped.
We could try it.
Do you have some sort of magic jar that would
No.
trap just that bit of the gas?
Hey, I'm not the magic guy here.
I'm just
so
having
sorry
a
towards you guys for that one.
think.
Cameron, do you know anything about preventing this function? The silvered weapons, perhaps? I mean, it's unclear whether this thing is even really a werewolf at this stage, and I think we thought maybe more like a gnoll, but
Where no?
I think that we could give it a try.
I can prevent its regeneration, but the gas just seems like a... Well,
Maybe if we make sure. I mean, what did that guy do to it to get it under its control?
what did he do? He did something with an orb, right? The orb that we found split in two.
I mean, after that, Gira described him using some magic on him. Maybe that's a clue. I don't know.
Perhaps it could be
Talbroth says, I've heard of creatures turning into gas, but never werewolves.
Are we sure it's a lycanthrope? Not some kind of demonic possession?
As a fiend, I can certainly do some things to it.
I mean, we could...
Strikes me as... Go on.
I don't know if you have it prepared yourself, but we could certainly try and banish it. If it is fiendish in nature, then I don't know whether... Well, actually, I suppose, Mike, would I know whether something would be banished permanently if it's a fiend, regardless of whether its origin was from the material plane or not?
Make an Arcana check. You have an idea that banishment tends to only banish things permanently if their origin isn't from this plane, I think.
There's origins, so they could be a fiend from this plane,
Yeah.
and therefore they would just stay here.
Yeah, because, for example, incubuses and succubuses and stuff, and cambions can be from this plane.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think
But if
banishment.
it's
I don't think
possession,
banishment will work, because if it's possession,
You might
possibly.
possess whatever it is that is, yeah, that might be returned.
Yeah. Though at that point, I mean, what would the spell be? If you're banishing a creature that has another creature possessing it,
Could we not find a way to inhibit magic in a certain area for a period of time?
you mean like a cone of anti-magic?
Yeah.
I do not have that, sadly.
I don't have anything similar to that.
I can shut him up for a bit. I don't know if what he does requires vocal components, but I can cast silence on him.
So can I. We did that last time and it didn't work.
Uh,
I think it helped with the howl, right?
Yeah, it stopped the howling, but it didn't stop him from just evaporating.
I can try and cast Hold Monster on him. I'd imagine he's a monster. Maybe that will keep him
Well,
still.
Anything's a monster.
I'm not.
Anyone can be a monster.
Anyone's a monster for the sake of whole monster.
Yeah. So
Supreme
pessimistic
Jaw.
view of monsters.
Stop being pedantic. It might
Right.
work. And hopefully that would stop him from turning into gas. If he still manages to turn into gas, then I guess it would suggest that the gas isn't something he himself controls and it would come from an outside source.
I do have an idea. This is a little bit of a Hail Mary. Over the night, I seem to have had some visions and speaking from the storm. This happens on occasion. And it brought to my attention a number of spells I could potentially use. One of which it allows me to inscribe a symbol on the ground or onto an object. It's Mary. And upon some condition being met whereby the symbol is interacted with, an effect is triggered. Now, I haven't really tested this, but I believe I can cause a target to sleep or stun upon interaction. That
Is
could potentially be helpful.
that a glyph of warding?
No, it is called symbol, although I'm not entirely sure I have the requisite component.
I believe also that has to be kept in the same place.
Yes, but you could put it in the cave wall or the cave floor and bait the old creature out, and when it triggers over the thing.
In my experience, sleep and stun spells, it usually gives them a chance to break out of it as soon as they get damaged.
That sounds preposterous. What a silly thing.
I mean, if someone's asleep and you punch them in the face, they're not going to stay asleep unless it was a very powerful punch.
Well, I hope to think that the magic is particularly powerful.
I could do it.
Yeah, see?
If I punch them, they'll go to sleep.
Does anyone perhaps have any persistent area of effect damaging abilities?
Yeah.
Well, like held my quarterstaff and swung around in a circle.
I could do the same with my axe if that helps.
I
can
can call
cast
down.
Fireball.
Although
Yeah.
I'll get quite dizzy,
Persistent.
so
What I'm thinking is perhaps if one of you does have something like that, perhaps you could cast that on top of it, and then I could trap it in the force cage, and it would keep the damage would keep affecting it, and when it becomes the gas would still be in the cage, assuming I use the box. Maybe I should describe them as force cage and force box.
As sorry, well, I've lost my train. Sorry, carry on.
But yeah, that might still affect it when it turns into a gas if it's unable to escape.
Oh yeah, is the gas like an actual spell? Sorry if that noise is really enough.
Well, you don't know.
I don't think we noticed it casting any spells. I think it seemed to just turn into a gas.
Interesting. So maybe the person turned it into gas? I don't know.
I don't think there was a counterspell opportunity for it.
Yeah, it certainly didn't seem like he was casting anything.
Yeah, because it was silence as well, so if it didn't have any build components.
Could have been some form of potion, or perhaps some innate ability. It certainly isn't your regular kind of lycanthrope.
I just worry that we're gonna go through all this effort of fighting it again, and the same thing's gonna happen as last time.
Yeah.
Can we not, like, uncurse it? Kira, you do religion stuff with the storm. Can you uncurse it?
I mean, I can certainly try, but it seems like a particularly strong curse.
if it's a curse to begin with.
Well, I think we can certainly give it a go, but I would require to touch the creature.
I can keep it still for you to touch it.
I could lock you in a cage with it.
I'd rather you
Yeah,
didn't. but
just
sure.
kidding, just kidding.
Cage fight! Cage fight! Cage fight!
I don't think we want to watch our the Gira, 1v1 with this thing.
Why don't we all just clump up and then we can all be in the cage? That can't go wrong, right?
It's not a huge cage.
Nah, it'll be fun.
This is what I suggested last time, and you said it was a bad idea. But oh, Roxon suggests it, and you're like, maybe.
No, I'm not. No, it's not a good idea. The box would only be 10 feet by 10 feet.
I am quite big. You'd all be quite.
We might be able to get one of us in there with it, but it wouldn't be a good idea.
Well, this is a problem.
I can cast Hold Monster on it and Gira can touch it.
And what is our strategy in the event this does not work?
We do what we can, just murderize the bastard.
That's right. Well, I've never heard that term used before. And
Oh, it's a
kids-
Feywild thing.
Oh, I see. But, yes, we can certainly try to murderize that bastard.
It's like tenderize, but murder.
Well, we shouldn't be doing it for the fun of it. There's a poor creature in the center of this, after all.
I think there's fun to be found in every situation.
I agree.
I think if
killing the werewolf will be fun.
I mean, if the plan fails, then killing it will be, well, or at least forcing it to retreat again would be a matter of self-defense at that stage. Matter of giving us another try.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shall we carry on and mulch over our decisions while we walk? We're very much interested in any suggestions you two have, far off and Glamour and Glare.
Well, I always figured that we were gonna, track it and then lay some sort of trap. So if you can get it paralyzed in some way, and then try and remove the curse, that might be the best thing we can get.
You have
Okay.
the means to trap the creature.
We can try.
I can cast Hold Monster on it and keep it still.
Well, I think we should listen here to our friends here. I think the idea of having I agree we should hold monster, but we need to lure the beast out in the first place, do we not?
Well, what does it like? It seems to enjoy cave painting, but mostly does that in blood. Ew.
We could maybe set a trap with some blood.
Where are we gonna get the blood, Mona?
Roxon
I
has
can't
lots
be-
of blood.
Just cut one of you.
I have lots of blood.
Barbara steps forward and says, also, aren't we forgetting the fact that he might have, like, that person with him? I mean,
Ah,
situation...
Grimshaw.
It's a possibility.
Well, then we can kill him too.
So jovial.
That'd be quite a weird experience for Scrimshaw, I'd imagine, killing himself.
Well,
Well, it's not him. They have different experiences, so they're different people. It's just...
Well, I mean,
my only concern.
walks like a duck and quacks like a duck.
I mean, it would be more like you killing your sister. Except that you don't know
I
your
mean,
sister. and
I've
you've never
considered it
really
in
met
child.
them.
I've considered it in childhood. I mean, we don't look identical, though.
I think it's more akin to Scrimshaw and Grimshaw being twins than anything else.
Hmm.
Rather
Like-
than themselves.
Well, will you be okay with killing your brother?
I
That
mean,
looks exactly like you.
I mean,
That looks
I've,
identical, yeah.
I've never met them before. I don't really
Oh, so-
hold particular.
Ah, I know how your morals sit now. If you haven't met them before, you're fine to kill them. No,
Oh, but-
Murder! I might
No.
hardly know them!
I mean, it's not my entire morality system, but
How would we deal?
Don't let Scrimshaw get close to anyone we intend to kill.
Mhm.
I do slightly worry what the implications are
You
of
become the dominant one.
potentially killing them, and then the other half of the soul which makes up me.
Maybe
This is
yeah.
silly. Does that?
Maybe it combines and you become Super Scrimshaw,
Or maybe it destroys the soul beyond repair,
and then you die.
Well,
or otherwise curses Scrimshaw. Or, you know, condemning an innocent little girl to death.
well, hopefully
Or
not either of
non-existence,
those.
which is even worse, I would say.
Ideally, you know, he just doesn't show up. If he does,
That's ideal, but
I suppose if we should probably discuss the. I suppose if he does show up, and does join the fray and fight against us alongside this abomination that
Wolf
dwarf has
of
become.
Ware.
that, or they both gang up,
What-
or that, or they just both start attacking us at the same time.
What do we do at that stage?
Um,
I mean, I suppose I could try and I could force cage one while we deal with the other.
We could make friends with Grimshaw.
Isn't Grimshaw meant to be the evil part of the soul?
Yeah, well,
We don't want to make friends with evil people.
I mean, that's what I'm saying.
I
Though.
supposedly-
maybe if he dies, well, what if he dies and then that evil bit just goes into Scrimshaw, and then he just becomes, you know,
Sup-
I don't know.
Supposedly Yara's bad traits went to form him, but
I'm starting to
That's-
question this Yara.
Yara, I mean, who's to
If
say?
a bad trait is turning people into null demons.
I mean, who's to say how many bad traits she had?
I still have a color of null control.
Control.
Controlling
No
null.
troll.
Null control.
Control.
Yeah, so if they are a null, we
Null.
can just slip that over them and then we'll have control of them.
If you want to control this null troll, you got to control the null.
gotta play the
Collar
null
of
troll
null,
to-
null
the
troll,
null
the
troll
null
troll.
controller, collar of control.
Yeah.
My brain hurts now. I don't know. So, we got a plan? Or are we still getting there?
Force case Grimshaw, and remove
Maybe.
Curse the werewolf man
Maybe
thing.
if Grimshaw is there, we capture them and then we interrogate them and get them to tell us how to stop it turning into gas. Because maybe they'll know. Just-
Implying this Grimshaw can't also turn into gas.
well, if that Grimshaw could turn into gas, then I'm very disappointed in our Grimshaw for not being able to do the same thing.
I think if there are both of them, does anyone have any issues with me just caging Grimshaw so he can deal with the wolf or whatever it is?
That- That sounds like a good idea, personally.
Yeah, well, we can capture Grimshaw. So if he turns to gas and gets away again, we can capture Grimshaw, interrogate them, and find out the secrets. Easy.
I don't think it's as easy as that.
Yeah,
Yeah. There
is-
Like Grimshaw, you also have never met him. He might be very resistant to interrogation.
There is
I've got my
one.
ways.
There is one.
I learned
issue.
from the best.
There is one issue with the force box, as we'll call it. Well, with either one, it is possible to teleport out. However, it takes a certain amount of charismatic resilience.
Oh, I could just
Um,
cast silence over it.
If his abilities match mine, then that would be his strength.
They had to cast the spell with words, because I could cast silence.
I mean,
With the box.
any method of teleportation.
Right.
So possibly. Would need to cast it before I cast the box, which could be awkward situationally. Could be hard to pull off, but could work.
You're right.
Well, sounds like the worst plan I've ever heard, but whatever. That's all we can
it's a
do.
plan nonetheless.
Yeah, I tend to just,
Oh, we
see
usually
how
do
things
that.
go.
We usually
It'll
do
be
that.
alright on the night.
Yeah, fix it in the mix.
That is our usual tactic. However, we decided to come up with a plan this time.
Hello.
I mean, we could just go in it guns blazing.
Alternatively, I could cage the Knoll Dwarf thing.
And then we take down.
The North.
Then we take down Grimshaw. And then maybe the Knoll will be like, "Oh, you're my friend now," and will stop trying to kill us. You never know.
You're assuming that this Grimshaw, whatever, is going to attack you.
Well, I mean, I'm not assuming that it will happen, but rather just
Preparing.
preparing for that eventuality.
Yeah,
We'll
I
have to play spells now.
I don't trust him, to be fair. I think that anyone who's turning people into demons is pretty bad.
Yeah, I think that goes without a given. No one does that for good reasons.
It's almost as
Well,
bad as
his reasons-
summoning them.
Those reasons might be good. They might just be good in an evil way.
Huh.
But demons.
I guess there's only one way to find out.
Hmm.
All right. Well, we should get back on the trail. Who knows how? Hopefully, if we're lucky, we can get them all there resting. If they even have to rest.
Possibly. Right, so
I
it's-
mean, they might just need to charge up like Grimshaw.
you know, have rest just as much as you do.
I mean, yeah, but it's not like you're asleep.
No, it still doesn't. Why does resting necessitate sleep?
What I mean is, if we're planning to catch them unawares, it kind of won't happen because they'll still be aware.
Well, I mean, slightly less aware, not completely unaware.
May I suggest we have this conversation on the road?
I thought
sorry,
you were
yeah,
already-
I
Yeah,
assumed you were.
you're already walking.
Oh, okay. Alright. Are we any closer to having a concrete plan here?
We're gonna keep the demon controlled and held, and you can touch him, and you can touch him and do your magic to him. If Grimshaw's there,
Is he like
Wait.
Marvin Gaye or some shit?
Get it all. Carry on. If Grimshaw's there.
if Grimshaw's there, we force cage him and deal with him after the wolf. No, North.
Very well. And what will you be doing far off from Glamaglir?
Well, we're getting you to them, aren't we?
Very well, but are you intending to engage the creature with us?
Well, yes, of course. But I fear that our combat prowess is not really a match to yours.
No, it's definitely not.
In that case, what use can
Well,
we
that's
have
not our
for you?
skill set. He gives you death glares.
And it's
Mhm.
well,
Mindlessly
any-
wandering into mammoth fights is something.
Do not.
it wasn't mindless. It was calculated and cold, and I killed them.
I'm sure that Glamaglir far off their skill is a little more niche, and that's just as impressive as your mammoth slaying capacity, my dear friend.
I have many, many.
Do you have any silvered arrows by any chance?
We don't really. We don't use arrows really in the bone cloaks. If you want a knife.
Yes, that would be useful. Though I actually can't make any good use of this until tomorrow, so
I've got a silver dagger.
Oh, you do?
I can't remember where from. I think we got it from the bone cloaks.
The cone blokes.
I think they lent it to me because we were fighting a werewolf.
Oh yeah, he did give you a dagger.
A silver one.
Right, well.
And he goes, oh yeah, that was actually the dagger I offered to give Scripture. Whoops, I forgot. I gave it to you.
Alright, well, that works. You're better with that than me anyway.
Stab it very hard until it
Well.
dies.
No, I was going to not stab it very hard. I was just going to lightly graze it.
With a dagger, a
I wasn't
lethal
gonna-
weapon.
I wasn't gonna stab it, I was gonna chop it. Axes aren't very good for stabbing. Chop.
All right, so someone roll me a D10.
I shall do that now. 7.
Right, so you travel for a few more hours. You begin to enter a part of the woods which is actually less covered. These sort of large rocky cliffs just jut out of the land at awkward angles, and you follow like a series of sort of valleys and ravines towards what seems to be this sort of like half-ruined temple on the top of this sort of like big outcropping of rock that sticks out just with the Spiderlands behind. You see the large jagged mountains flanked to the north of you, and to the south obviously the lush horrible wilderness of this part of the woods. So the temple, it seems, is where the tracks are leading to, and although you can't quite see anything on the top of the temple or near the temple as it is quite high up compared to where you are, Thorboth says it seems that the tracks are leading up the path that leads to the top of the temple. This is an ancient place. It's been here for thousands of years.
Perhaps from here we should proceed slowly if we think we're nearby.
Which being is this temple dedicated to?
It's from the old religion of Ortheid. It's dedicated to a number, but I'm sure that the original deity it was dedicated to is long faded out of memory now. The Spiderlands used to be a lush Mistran colony from before the war with Eretzar. And ever since, it's been host to a number of evil beasts that were brought with Eretzar. The temple looks very decrepit and sad. It seems it's circular, but a lot of the side walls have fallen, and it's more reminiscent of like a large stone circle now. But from your position, you can't see any movement up there. Somebody give me a perception check though as you're walking towards it.
Sure, I will do that.
As you begin making your way up, the sun is beginning to set after a day's worth of traveling. And you notice that the stones seem to be reflecting some sort of illumination. It seems to be like a red glow that's illuminating slightly off the temple. And as the sun is going lower and lower, it becomes more prominent and obvious. At this point, you've reached the base of the sort of... It's more of a path. Once you notice that there's like ancient steps which have long been rounded through the erosion of time and mostly now sunk into the mud. But there is a sort of path that leads up to the top of this mound, and which seems to go like spiral upwards around the temple. Thamongleer goes. Yes, they're definitely up there. And he like points to like a claw mark on one of the rocks. He says, or at least they were up there.
Okay.
So there was a red glow. Fire?
It didn't seem to flicker like fire, like a fire would like flicker. But also, it's quite hard to make out exactly what it was. It seems to be a bit darker red than like a fire would cast.
Did you say there's runes on these stones?
No. They're like rounded through like erosion over time.
Okay.
I believe that
Magic?
the orb was red, I believe. Am I wrong?
It was red.
Yeah, the orb we found at the other cave, that was red. This could be linked
The
to that.
Grim Orb.
Similar magic. Could have found another victim. Perhaps we approach quietly. Try and get a view
That
into
sounds
what's
like
going
a-
on.
I do fear that Grimshaw, as you're calling him, is up there, then I think he would be acutely aware of our presence already. But the werewolf, depending on whether or not he's there, might not. Though I do know their sense of smell. Well, he's not a werewolf, is it? Ignore me.
It's aware no.
Where no.
Regardless, Mona?
Yep.
Uh,
Let's go.
stealthy stealth?
Mm-hmm. Are you coming with me, or am I going by myself?
Oh, well, I mean, it might make sense for you to try and get a peek, but I was actually thinking of maybe pass without trace.
Yeah, I got you. I know. Okay, I'll pass without a trace, and then let's go.
Okay, so you're going up stealthily.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, everyone, roll me a stealth check, please.
Okay.
32.
29.
Hang on.
So.
Not bad.
Uh-oh.
Okay, and
Oh,
that's,
it's
pl-
still 16.
that's plus 10. So. Okay, so you all begin to slowly tread your way up the path. Roxon steps on a couple of sticks on the way up, and everyone like turns and gives them death glares. Especially Tharboth, who goes, "Silence."
Hypocrite.
Silence. So yes, as you begin to reach the top, the carved stairs begin to become more prominent and obvious, and it seems that now that you've begun to reach the plateau of this rocky outcropping, you now see like stone slabs which are peeking out of the mud all around. The temple itself is sort of like arched in a sort of semicircle almost. A lot of the masonry and rocks are just jutting out of having toppled a long time ago, and sort of. But in the center of this monument is this altar, maybe made of round carved stone, with this red orb on it, which seems to be just sort of glowing faintly. By the altar, is a hooded figure who's just like looking down at it. And you notice as you get to the top of the stairs, on a rock just by the side of the temple, is the hulking demon that is just sort of crouched, just watching you approach. He just sort of growls a little bit, but it doesn't make any things to it, But as you begin to sort of approach, the figure looks over at you and pulls down his hood, and it is the figure that you saw before. He says, hello, little brother. Like sort of chuckling to himself.
Little brother. Are we not the same age?
So you truly do not remember me?
Jog my memory.
The old man must have got you good. He never shied away from a modified memory or two. What did he have you believe?
I know someone like that.
Everyone glares at Gira.
Did he have you believe that you were his loyal servant, filling your mind with thoughts of unwavering loyalty?
Not too far off.
Did you truly never ask why you had served him? Unquestioningly, for half a millennium. Had it not skipped your mind to consider the plausibility of what you thought was your life until the point where you stepped outside the door of the tower? Wise Grimshaw, I never thought that we would be talking like this. Never again.
Give
How-
Scrimshaw a little nudge up in front.
How long did I know you?
Well, let's see. Well, you are my little brother. You were also the first. You, however, were the first to, let's say, develop a consciousness. In that department, I came much later. So, you knew me longer than I knew you. But it was a long time indeed.
Then why do you call me the little brother?
Because I was the first.
So your body was first, but not your mind.
What am I if not my body? My experiences.
I mean, people can be reincarnated and such. That doesn't make them a newborn.
Well, you always did like to argue. No, it was, let's say, by your hand of fate that I'm standing here today. It was not it was not Aaron Shander who made me. It was you.
That doesn't make sense. How could I have made you?
Can I insight check him?
Yeah, go ahead.
Fuck.
He's very hard to read.
I do it.
Yeah, anyone can do it, but the answer's probably going to be the same. He is very hard to read.
And I'm not
That's
good at
okay.
reading.
Oh, now Roxy just needs to get a nat 20 on this.
Damn, I wish I
But yeah,
could read.
put your headband on.
Oh.
That's
Oh,
supposed to think
it's
charisma. It's not.
He's
It's
very hard to read.
wisdom. Sorry. What's Do you have a name?
Ah, and it's you. You have made some friends, haven't you, Scrimshaw?
Do you know?
I always thought it was possible. I always thought it was possible that you would venture out into the wider world.
Sorry, do Do you know Gira?
Gira. So that's your name. Let's say that we were once acquainted a long time ago.
Oh. I'm sure I would not have forgotten a face like yours.
Well, it seems that everyone is forgetting a lot of important things.
You didn't answer my question. What was your name?
The name's Tail. Nice to meet you.
I don't like that name.
Is that T-A?
I prefer Grimshaw.
Garricast modifier.
Reaches out with a hand.
Oi.
You okay?
Why?
Oh, there's Billy barking. Might be someone at the door. But, I'll just check.
Why would Aaron Shander try and change Scrimshaw's memory?
The old man loved to play mind games. But with Scrimshaw, oh, man, he loved to control you. You were his true protege. He gloated constantly that he at least had one loyal son. But you never were loyal, were you, Scrimshaw? Not to him, at least. He was only an adopted father. After I came into this world, you saw quicker than I that he was worth nothing. When you stood up to him. How he laughed. But you were serious.
So there was just someone at the door. 1 sec.
Okay.
Should we just hold it there for a second?
We can have a
Just-
break.
Okay.
Yeah, let's have a break. So we'll be back in 15. Although Richard is in control of the stream, so that might be a possible. But we're having a break from now, so
I'm just going to be right back.
just be aware that it's probably still streaming.
Cool. Yeah.
It is still streaming. I'm just gonna stop it now.
Okay. Yeah.
1.
One.
So tired of that.
It's so
guys.
boring,
All right. Well, anyway, we're back. Okay. So, yeah, before the break, you had arrived at the top of this temple where you saw Scrimshaw's doppelganger, who revealed his name to be Tail, charging something, or some sort of like orb that's on there. It's like faintly glowing. He's looking down at it, sort of was muttering under his breath a little bit. But when now you've approached, he is locking his gaze firmly on all of you as he's sort of quite relaxed. He says, "Tell me, did you ever go back to the tower?"
Once.
Had it?
You're doing?
No, that was just the doing of time, I think. But
In months?
well, Scrimshaw, this is what I'm talking about. The old man, he filled your mind up with all sorts of garbled nonsense. Did you think a tower could collapse to that in a matter of months? You had left the tower yourself not only, what, a few months before that, by your thoughts?
How can we be certain you're not trying to fill Scrimshaw's head with, quote, garbled nonsense?
Well, truly, it's none of my business. I do not know why any of you are here today, but I had noticed that my dear brother was following me. So that was interesting. But the rest of you I know very little about.
Well,
Kira.
I know some.
Oh, yes, I know Kira.
Gira. I was speaking to Gira.
Kira.
How do you know how to reverse your modify memory?
Kira.
Hello?
There we
Yep.
Hello? Yeah, it's not entirely. I do.
I do.
Well, if it's a spell, then presumably it can be undone. And then we can know for sure.
I just have one more question before you touch my dear friend here. Why the fuck have you been turning people into gnolls? Or hyena-ware things of doom?
To target that first point, I never offered. I just said I knew how to do it. He sort of cracks into a wide smile. I think my reasons would be rather beyond your capabilities of understanding.
Ooh,
That just sounds extremely narcissistic.
that sounded like something you would say, Chinook, to be fair. Exactly.
If you'd like to discover my reasons, you're welcome to come with me.
Where are you going?
To the throne of Zrixarak, the Spider Queen.
Oh.
Oh, we were going that way.
Thanks for telling him. Roxanne.
Sorry. He did. I thought it. Look, he looks like Scrimshaw. It confused me. Okay.
I somehow think the tail might
Can
have.
we put like a little bow tie on one of them? That'll
I-
tell the difference.
What were you saying, Gira?
I'm fairly certain Tail might have an idea why we're going anyway. Or where we're going anyway. If he is as good as he says he is.
So how do you free a...
Wait, did you hear me? Or, sorry, did I?
Yeah.
did I
Yeah,
die?
yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Sure.
So how do you clear a modified memory?
What is this? he looks at you quite deeply and sincerely, and he says, "Now, I haven't told you the whole story, and I fear that if you were to discover those memories, we might not get on so well."
Why is that?
If that's the case, then perhaps there's good reason for us to not get on so well. If what I've read is true, then we would have good reason to believe that you would not have the best ideals in mind.
And what did you read?
One soul, two bodies. The hatred, the greed, that sort of side of things in one, and the good in the other. The text words, not mine. I know good and evil aren't exactly super concrete things, but that sort of vibe.
They were probably defined by a terrifically cruel wizard and a fiend from hell. So, to be fair,
Yeah, I think
their
according to
ideas
that,
of good and evil.
I think according to that, you were Ashigal's puppet.
Hmm. And it said that I was Ashigal's puppet.
Let's have a look.
Well, it said one of us was.
Oh, dear Scrimshaw. Neither of us were. We both desired freedom overall, and that took us to fight together for a number of years against the forces which had seek to oppress us. Unfortunately, you lost and returned to the service of Aaron Chanda. Meanwhile, I resolved to punish them, Aaron Chanda and Ashigal, for taking my only family away from me. That has taken me to well, where we are today. It's all part of my plan, you see, to gain revenge.
By cursing people and turning them into monsters.
You mean Espen? Oh. He nods over to the werewolf who's crouched in a rock nearby. I'm only responsible for his death through my own negligence. See, he escaped from me originally. We had made a deal, a pact, you see. And as for his mutation, trust me, it was consensual. He just had a lack of imagination, which I suppose led to his surprise when he gained more power than he thought possible.
He seemed rather concerned and attacked us when he saw Scrimshaw and believed him to be you. I really don't believe a single thing you're saying here.
Well, once I caught back up with him, I convinced him. He's right over there. He has no chains on him.
No physical
Do you,
ones.
Espen?
Does Espen respond?
Espen just sort of just growls at you, not at Tail.
I'm going to need my
And where does
memories
this
back
power come from?
before I make any rash decisions. here.
Where does this power come from?
Espin's. Or mine.
The
or
trans-
Scrimshaw's.
I guess all of them. This transformation I'm seeing happen with Espin, I must say, it's the first time I've ever seen it, and I've been to a lot of places. And I assume it's linked to whatever is giving you your magic.
It is of a similar source, but not exactly. You see that Espin is going through a bit of a transformation.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah, go ahead.
cast detect magic on Tail actually.
Yeah, so as you cast detect magic, you notice that the spell just doesn't seem to work. There seems to be some sort of deadness of the magic around this temple.
Oh really? But just generally everywhere.
Yeah, now that you've cast detect magic, you just notice that spell didn't work, and you might try and cast a cantrip. That doesn't work either.
Mm. So there's something in the orb or something.
He says, Tail says, let's say an enemy of Ashigal is willing to help me out. And so, together, we plan on taking our revenge.
And what would you do once your revenge has been taken?
Well, I don't think I need to explain that to you. We talked about it once, a long time ago. But you do not seem to be the Scrimshaw that I knew.
That might be for the better.
Well, let's just say that we didn't see eye to eye on a lot of things. But the Scrimshaw of the past certainly wouldn't see eye to eye with you. So, I bid you farewell. I hope that when everything is said and done, you do not try and stop me.
So what is it that you wish to do in Arakatar?
Well, I don't know if you know of Shirk Sarak's allies and fealties, but she's a close ally of Ashigal. I leave the rest up to your imagination.
Just kind of look to the parties, like try and engage everyone else's current intentions and such.
I think doing the detect magic, Gira kind of puts up. He's kind of has both his arms, his hands on his dick that's kind of against the ground. He kind of raises his hand and kind of lowers his head a bit as to kind of say, just stand down kind of thing.
I feel as if this enemy of Ashigal's is some form of fiend. It's just a hunch, but I don't like this at all.
You notice that the cloak he's wearing seems to be one of a traveller's cloak, something that is quite drab and inconspicuous, and to keep the weather away. But as he begins to pack up his things and thinks about moving. You see that there's like a flash of his blade by his side, and the clothes that lie beneath, which are very fancifully made, sort of different colors of incredibly masterfully crafted, maybe elven dress. The sword by his side flickers for a moment, and it's this sort of like scimitar that seems to give off this rainbowy or hue and aura from it, and it seems to like it's very strange. As it flickers just for a moment, you just get like a bit of a headache in the back of your head, just like seeing it before it's like cloaked again.
What does his face look like? Is it just
exactly
the same as Scrimshaw?
exactly like Scrimshaw's. But as he like lowers his hood, you notice that where Scrimshaw's horns are quite large and overgrown, he's actually like sort of like carved like various like glowing runes and stuff in them. He doesn't have a beard. That's all been shaved off, and it basically just has like the sort of standard Scrimshaw face without a beard.
Okay, and they cut the eye colours are purple as well.
From this distance, it's quite hard to tell. They seem to be like purplish, but like his expression never goes wide enough for you to be able to like completely spot his eyes.
Okay.
Interesting blade you have there.
Thank you. And he puts his bag on and nods to Espen and says, "Well, it's about time I make my leave. Please, do not hesitate to waste any more of my time."
Well, thanks very much.
Bit rude.
And as for our family reunion, Scrimshaw, I'm sure one day again we will have another conversation, and maybe a longer one. But just remember, if you seek too much into your past, you're going to learn things that are very unfortunate for yourself. So I bid farewell to you all. And he begins to make his way down the path.
Does Espen go with him or stay there?
Espen just sort of like watches you for a little bit, and then after he sort of begins to descend down the path, Espen just sort of bounds after him.
I assume he takes the orb with him.
Oh yeah. He's like the orb itself is fairly large. It's not as large as the original one, but he just puts that into a bag of holding.
As he puts it in the bag of holding, does it feel like, you know, if I do another detect magic, how does it feel? Still feels odd.
There's still no magic.
Oh, interesting. Maybe it's the blade or something.
Or it's the area.
Can
The
I
temple.
try and conjure Avenger?
Yeah, it doesn't happen.
Is my pass that a trace storm?
No.
It wasn't on at all.
Is it still running?
Ask about Trace. I think you're
is
still
it
concentrating on
suspended?
it. It's just suspended. Yeah.
Right. Okay, let's get somewhere that we're.
As he
not
begins to
surprised.
descend down the mountain, as he gets to a certain distance away, you notice that magic seems to work fine.
Oh.
Didn't sound-
Was he? What was? Was it just? Did it seem to just be an area around him, or was it specifically like when he was looking at us?
Yeah, you don't know. You just notice that now he's like sort of gone a certain distance away. It's gone.
Right.
But like you can't quite ascertain the distance because you weren't like constantly checking.
Yeah.
So at some point between him beginning to descend and having descended after a couple of minutes, you notice that magic is back.
Yeah.
Hero goes over and puts a hand on Scrimshaw's shoulder and says, I imagine that must have been a little strange for you.
Yes. I'm not quite sure what to make of it. But I need these memories back, good or bad.
Are you sure?
I'm sure. I did hope at some stage to go and, rescue Aaron from whatever trouble he's in. I need to know what's going on, or I may end up doing things that have terrible consequences.
You know that when you make this decision, there is no going back. The Scrimshaw that will come after, as Tail mentioned, won't be the Scrimshaw as he is now.
Regardless of my past, what it is, I need to know it.
A person is their experiences. That's what creates someone. How do we know the same Scrimshaw will come back? You'll
it's just a case
regain
of-
all your experiences.
It won't change my personality, though, surely. Gaining memories that
It
Probably
might. It might change how you see things. Your experiences will come back, and the way you experienced one thing as you are now could be very different to how you experienced it before. I mean, for
Okay.
instance, your relationship with Shanda.
I mean, Gira, I think you of all people here would understand the desire to know your own life.
Kira stands there for a moment, just kind of thinking.
I mean, that's what we're here for.
Goal isn't, well, perhaps for you. For me, isn't about attainment of knowledge. It's just about making sure that the world that I was meant to protect and serve is in order. But I understand your needs, Scrimshaw. And, oh, it's getting a bit dark, is it? Maybe we can have a chat later tonight about if you would want.
Do you think you can reverse it?
Perhaps.
Okay. Well, let's get away from here.
I don't see why not. This seems like a fairly reasonable place. What time is it? You said the sun was setting. Is it kind of evening now?
Yeah, it's because you've travelled pretty much all day to this temple.
I mean, it might not be a bad idea camping out on here. We have good lines of visibility down the hill.
Or I could bring us to the mansion again.
Oh, whatever.
I
seems
quite like the mansion.
very well.
It is nice.
I'm curious, what happens if he walks past the mansion door?
Uh-oh.
Well, then we all tumble out.
What if maybe for tonight just make sure the mansion is only one floor?
I don't mind sleeping on the top bunk. On the top.
Top bunk?
Oh, no, it's not that. It's more like we're shunted out of the extra dimensional space.
I just worry that if for example we're in the shape of a tower for the night, maybe people would be shunted out in their positions they were in, and someone could be 50 feet off the ground. And it's a small worry.
I mean,
getting hung
it's
up on
always-
little things.
I don't like changing it too much. It's very similar to a place near where I grew up. It's quite lovely.
I also don't like falling 50 feet.
So it's always it'll always be the garden.
Okay. Well then, shall we?
Well,
Sure.
hold on a second, Thoros. So,
Oh,
you just let the werewolf go?
Well, if I don't mean to be crude, I do believe that that werewolf's about to be led into the land of the spiders. I don't particularly value its odds, and I feel like Tail is more than likely using his friend as a bit of a decoy or a meat shield of some series. I don't think that werewolf will be troubling you for a while. And if it's any consolation, we plan to also head and meet Zarek Sagal. So the hunt is not over for us.
You see, I think that this is more useful. If we can, you know, keep an eye on Grimshaw. I know his name's Tail, but I don't give a shit. His name's Grimshaw. He needs to deal with that. If we keep an eye on him, not only will we figure out information about what exactly he wants here, but, you know, we could find out why he needs the strange null creature.
I do apologize that this is not to your liking.
I mean, the question is, what am I supposed to say to my superiors? Yes, we tracked it all the way to the Spiderland, and it got away from us.
Well, unfortunately, venturing doesn't always end out well.
That's what I mean. The true goal was for it to no longer be a threat to Thurum, right?
Well, the goal was really to make it not a threat to Shor Kral. I think I failed quite miserably at that goal.
Do you mind it being a threat to a Rakatar?
I don't trust him. I don't trust that wooden man. No offense.
I don't think anyone trusts him. It's just a matter of... It's like we've got two devils, and both of them are trying to tell us different things.
Oh, what did you just call me a...
No, I mean Shander and Grimshaw.
Oh, right.
Hey,
right,
oh.
okay.
One fed you information, and that's the stuff you've known to your knowledge your entire life, and the other one gave you information, which supposedly was part of your past life. All we have to go on are words that you've either read or heard until we can, you know, fix your brain. If you have a brain. Do you have a brain? I hope you have a brain. It'd be weird if you didn't have a brain. My food just got here, so I need to grab that.
It's not really a brain so much as a series of chords, and I'm not an expert in biology of whatever I am.
Well, apparently you are, according to him. If you made him.
Well, maybe I will be if I get my memories back.
But Thorroth says, what does that mean, he made you? Is it that he... that you made him? Is it that you physically made him? Or...
I don't know.
I mean, he talks about that you had consciousness before him.
Well, as far as I knew, my master made me, and my soul was that of half of that of someone that he wished to save. But I'm starting to doubt that. So, yeah, he and I, according to what we found anyway, essentially share one soul. So I presumed that we were both being created at the same time.
If that's even true.
I mean, we found this in the form of, I believe there were contracts of sorts made between
Which could have
Armistice
been
and Aeron.
falsified.
Between, Ashigal and Aeron. Could have been, but it seems a little convoluted to have left leaving out papers in a room in a hidden place with a lodestone, and it just seems a bit far-fetched to have been planted.
Perhaps conversations for another evening. Let us ponder upon what we have learned. There is much to reflect on.
Well, do you have any ideas
On what?
on what to reflect on?
Well, particularly for our party, the revelations of Scrimshaw. For you, well, by the sounds of it, what you're going to report back to your commanding officer.
Well, I think you'll be happy enough to hear that it's gone.
Indeed. And if it does come again, well, I pity the innocents who might get murdered.
Unfortunately, this does mean that we'll be turning back.
I thought as much. Well, I'm sure I can speak on all of us when I say we thank you for your service and your guidance. Before you do leave, we would be interested if you could provide some advice on reaching the inner areas of the Spiderlands.
Of course. If you follow the road east another 30 miles or so, you will eventually reach a fork in the road, which one of them goes north. Follow that one until you get to an abandoned watchtower in the valley. It'll be hard to miss. That is the Bone Gate. That is the official crossing into the Spiderlands. I would not be surprised if it was manned and watched.
Yeah.
From there, Arakatar is an easy follow.
And
Presumably they take
that's
orders
very
to outsiders.
Outsiders not loyal to the Spider Queen.
I've just had a terrible thought. If if this tale winds up causing trouble in the Spiderlands, which I would imagine he would, considering, you know, Drixrak supposedly a friend of Ashigal. He looks exactly like you.
That could be trouble.
And it's not like you could defend yourself by saying, it's not me, it's my evil twin. You know?
It's the truth.
But how many times do you think people have used that?
I don't know. I've never used it. I don't have an evil twin. Why would I use it?
I think Drixrak wouldn't be very happy with a group of adventurers traveling around anyway.
Yeah, I think this one is going to be not. Yeah, I think going by the main roads, going in public, is not going to be the way forward here.
So stealth mission.
If you do not want to take a main road into the Spiderlands, it will cost you a lot of time and potentially lead you down dangerous passages. I don't recommend it. There is more than Drixrak in the mountains. Let's just say that.
True. Though individual monstrous threats, I feel we can deal with.
Depends on the monster.
A small nation That's a bit harder. Yeah, it depends on the monster, but most
There
things,
are ancient Mistran tunnels which lead all throughout the mountains. If you could find an entrance to one, they might have deadly foes within, but it would not be the Spider Queen.
that might be preferable. Do you have any idea where to look?
Well, hold on a moment. Once we get into these tunnels, how do you suggest we navigate them?
That will be difficult.
I think the best option is to stick to on or near the roads. Any incursions, we will just have to deal like we always do. At least this time, we might be mildly prepared.
Prepared to fight the entire guard force and military of the Spider Queen if it comes to it.
I never said fight, but would be prepared. I appreciate this is no easy task. It was never going to be.
No.
You
That-
notice that Thorbrath and Gamonglir are sort of like having a hushed argument with each other.
Does anyone have like really good hearing?
They're just like sort of they're speaking in Dwarven and like really like quite close up to each other. Thorbrath seems like quite angry. And then Thorbrath slams the table and says, "Sorry, I have to make my leave. I will see you in the morning."
Is that just Thorbrath?
Yeah, Thorbrath goes, and then Gamonglir is just sort of like in a huff and just eating more food.
Can Kira go over to him after a little while and use calm emotions on him?
Sure.
And then kind of, good evening, Gamonglir.
Evening.
I'm sorry what happened between you and Thorbrath. I imagine you two share a bond I could only quite imagine.
Well, on this mission, he's my commanding officer. So.
Ah. Apparently, once upon a time, I had commanding officers too. I'm sure I wouldn't have got on particularly famously with them either. May I ask what happened? I don't mean to pry, just want to make sure we're not missing anything.
Make a persuasion check.
Yep.
With advantage, because he's got calm emotions. He says, I really shouldn't. I'm sorry. And he gets up and begins to leave.
Gira kind of turns and just kind of huffs a little, but not in a kind of aggressive, angry way, just kind of shame.
Thorbrath goes, Gamonglir goes out the tent to his quarters.
Gira just kind of, are we in the mansion now?
Yeah.
Okay. Gira goes and finds, sorry, I don't want to hold this thing, but Gira goes and finds Scrimshaw if he can. Good evening, Scrimshaw.
Oh, hello.
Is anyone else here?
I assumed you were all sort of around because you'd been talking before.
Okay. I've been having a think, and there might be afraid that your modified memory experience wasn't peculiar. A way that I can revert the issue.
How's that?
Just some old cleric spells. You know how to. Oh, cleric? I don't think we can really use that term. Just some old spells, that's all.
Oh, well, bring it on. Will it hurt? Well, I don't know if you'll know, but yeah, bring it on. I trust
I
you.
can't vouch for any physical pain, but the mental anguish might be a little unnerving, depending on what happens. It could be nothing, which would also be interesting. Now, I
half a
may.
century of I've had half a millennium of mental anguish. A little more can't hurt.
Indeed. If it doesn't bother
Alright,
you,
so Scrimshaw.
I would like the others to prepare for what happens next. Could cause, I'm sure, a lot of confusion if it goes well, or it could be completely nothing. But I would appreciate if we would be ready to comfort our friend, shall I say. Is that okay, Scrimshaw?
Yeah, sure.
When
By
I say
comfort, do you mean viciously with steel?
Restrain, or I mean, by
I
all
mean
means,
restrain.
if I lash out at you all, then restrain me. Some of you won't find it difficult.
Very well. Okay. Gira kind of goes towards Scrimshaw. Are you comfortable?
As comfortable as I'm gonna get.
Okay. Right. And Gira, he has two options. He's going to opt for the lower one first to see if that makes a difference. And he's going to do remove curse on Scrimshaw. It's
Okay.
a spell I prepared. So I
Alright.
used the spell.
So you sit down in front of Scrimshaw, facing each other. You begin to call out for the storm to guide your hand as you raise your hand out and touch Scrimshaw, muttering under your breath some sort of prayer to the storm to remove Scrimshaw's curse. You close your eyes and you focus strongly. And you feel that there's something there, deep down in Scrimshaw, which has been repressed, been modified somehow. And as you sort of like breathe out and focus and close your eyes, your vision sort of focuses on this point. And as you get closer and closer to it, it begins to open up. But suddenly, as you focus, it just opens up too much, and a sheer wave of psychic pain sears through your body in retaliation. You make a wisdom saving throw for me. Okay. You manage to control your thoughts and push back against this threat, but it begins to overwhelm you, and it's more and more, and it's starting to get painful as you just feel this sort of static, evil presence engulf your body, and then suddenly you just remove your hand. It's too much to handle. Instinctually, you pull back. The spell fails.
Gira kind of pushes back a little bit, kind of off his kind of back from the position he was sat in.
Oh, are you okay?
Do not know what a devil's name is inside you, Scrimshaw. Certainly evil.
What happened? What did you find? What? Some kind of.
Gira kind of regains his kind of composure a little bit.
You notice that Gira seems to have like all across his body like ice is sort of like surfaced, like frost has surfaced all over his body, and then suddenly Gira, you just feel like a massive shiver just go down your spine. Just you're really cold.
They're done to me. Gira kind of feels the ice. Great.
I'll just kind of look around to find one of the nearest servants. Could you bring us some blankets, a duvet, perhaps?
Okay, they float off. A few moments later, they return. Start just piling blankets over Gira.
Okay, that's enough.
36th blanket gone.
Gira kind of removes a blanket from over his face and kind of looks around a bit.
The Gira burrito.
Garito.
You begin to feel the warmth begin to seep back into your body.
Something is deeply ingrained within you, Scrimshaw. I tried with all of my wisdom, and the wisdom the storm befits me, and it was not enough. Hell knows what to do to remove your ailment. Then,
Didn't you have some kind of
we
spell?
might have.
Didn't you have some kind of spell that gives you that kind of information? Oh no, that's just yes and no, isn't it?
I could use my second option for a greater restoration, but I'm fairly convinced. Although the magic is stronger, the result will likely be the same. Whatever was down there was incredibly pernicious.
If there's something, if whatever's in there is fighting back into your own mind, I can perhaps strengthen perhaps both of our minds with Intellect Fortress.
That said, Aaron Shandir, I imagine, is a very powerful wizard. And Ashiel is a very, very powerful devil. Or demon, or whatever it is. Perhaps a being of higher power than... Respectfully, Gira. A being that possesses more potential and magical power could remove those.
Didn't know any of those.
I do.
Oh, I seem to have an inkling where this is going, Shonak.
I could take you all to my loving, real home, and I can bring you to my master. Perhaps he could help you.
Gira turns to Scrimshaw.
Did you tell us who your master is already, or?
I don't recall if I have.
Who is your master?
Feywild. I've never been in a long
Zach's just DC'd.
Oh.
His master was like, no, you can't reveal my existence yet.
Mhm.
You're getting DDoSed.
Yeah, I'm DDoSing, so.
Yeah, I think that's not a bad idea. Like, what the... Hello.
Hello, Zach. You have
Hello.
returned. Though you do not speak.
I...
Oh.
Sorry, I didn't know what happened there.
That call took your tongue.
Yeah.
So who is your master?
Hakul?
I don't think I know that name.
He's an
Scrimshaw doesn't
archfey. He rules over the powers of speech and the like, and so he tends to order his most faithful servants to sew their mouths shut.
Oh,
Oh, yeah. With, oh my god, what's her name?
Shai?
Shai, yeah.
Yeah, that's a standard.
Sounds rather grotesque.
It's a Feywild thing. The logic and the morality behind it doesn't really befit creatures from this material plane. They operate by entirely different rules there and understandings of things.
Seems like a cop-out, but,
I mean, believe what you want, but their brains just... The way people think and behave there is very different. It's a lot more extravagant and emotional.
So you think you can undo this?
He's the most powerful being I happen to know of.
Whoa, you know
Personally.
me.
Hey,
We're pretty powerful.
I'm very strong.
Shanak just doesn't like even have like a look. He just kind of like casts like there's just featureless, just like look at both of them.
It's alright, Roxanne. I bet we could beat him in a fight.
I bet we could be up short right now.
Yeah.
Beat
What's
him up.
what's it, Chinook?
Watch what you're saying, boy.
I wouldn't threaten me. I have a very easy way
threaten me?
into. I have a very easy way into the Feywild, and so I would probably be one of your only ways there.
I mean,
We're just joshing.
we're just letting
gently.
you know that, you know.
No, it's not him that we could beat. Well, I mean, we probably could. But I mean, his master, right? Can't be that
Yeah, we-
powerful.
Beat him up.
Please don't test that, and don't tell him that. He.
Alright, I'll keep my mouth shut.
He might make you do that, actually.
I don't fear a lot of people, but him.
So why isn't your mouth shut? Why
What
didn't he do you?
Because that only happens with full-fledged Fey.
Ah, okay.
So he didn't deem you worthy of the...
I'm not full Fey. Only my mother is a member of is anything reminiscent of Fey, and she still doesn't make the cut.
An elf. Is she?
She's a special kind of elf. An Eladrin.
Ah.
They have more ties with the Feywild than other elves you'll meet, but still not exactly full-fledged Fey. Otherwise, they wouldn't be an elf. They'd be a Fey. But once all this is done, I could definitely take you over to Harkul and see if he'll do anything. Fair warning, though, he is quite mad.
Sounds like a stand-up guy. Seems
Sounds
like it's
just
gonna
the
be
kind
fun,
of person
right?
we'd associate with.
And he will want something back in return.
I assume so.
What's he gonna want?
A medal.
Oh, how many fairy tales have you read?
There's the Goliath and the...
No.
That's a great tale, I'll tell you that one.
wardrobe.
When I was younger, I read a lot of stories about the trespasser. That's basically my childhood stories. And that sort of, I mean, she's a god, not a fairy, but...
Well, Fae have been, in their bargains, have been known to ask for many things.
Is it gonna be
and-
my firstborn child? Because I don't think I can have kids.
I mean, if you do offer that, you will have children.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, as in, the magic, the deal requires it, and so for every form of magic, there must be some form of sacrifice.
Yeah, I mean, I can have my firstborn son. I don't think I can
Wow.
have kids. Yeah, I mean, what? I don't need a son.
Also,
That's pretty
he
fucked up.
could ask for your name, and you'll lose your entire identity. He could ask for your power of speech, which would seem pretty on brand with him, and you'll never be able to talk again.
Alright, I'll keep an eye out for tricks. Tricks and things.
Agree.
Yeah, although I'm not really getting anything from this, so I can't imagine he'd want anything from me, right?
Okay, you're asking me to tell you the logic of a powerful, insane archfey.
He could take my
Yes.
beard. I don't need that.
No, don't give him the beard.
I think my artwork
Um,
disagrees.
Your memory,
Horns,
your memory would be very, very valuable, and so he'll want something valuable back.
Well, why don't we just make out that it's not that valuable?
Well, then why would we
Like-
be going to? Then he would ask why we decided to bother him in the middle of the Feywild, and if he decides that we've wasted his time, we could all possibly just perish right then and there.
Nah, he couldn't just kill
Why
us.
don't we go back to our home and find something that we don't really want and it's just lying around? And,
Yeah.
you know.
Oh, we could give maybe one of the puppies.
No.
Wait. Well, that depends. Would he be a good owner?
I've never seen him with a dog. He'd
Not
probably
having
sell
my
its
dog.
mouth shut.
Oh.
Jesus. Don't, please don't.
I mean,
give him to
I mean, at least it would be considerate to his neighbours.
It.
them. It'll
Yeah,
also
it's just like-
die. Eat.
Yeah, but it's in the Feywild. You don't need to eat in the Feywild, right?
You do still on your teeth in the Feywild.
I thought you said it was like a dream. You don't have to eat in dreams. Do you?
It's similar to a dream,
I
but
eat
you're
in my
still
dream.
there.
Yeah, who says you don't have to eat in a dream?
Just never asleep long enough to realise.
Yeah, you just never get hungry. I've definitely eaten in dreams.
I have also eaten in dreams.
Fascinating.
I also eat dreams. All right. Anyway, so
Yes. So okay. So that is something we could do when all this is done. But for now, there is the matter of
Giving
Let's go
Gira
from
his
here.
special hammer back.
yes, retrieving the hammer.
Apologize. Tool would probably be rather useful. Not just
Oh.
the tool itself, but the memories as well.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yes,
I
that's
was
what we're
more
here for.
speaking about a euphemism. I was talking about your penis.
Oh, I don't have one of those.
Oh!
Wait, what?
Do you not?
Neither
You
do I.
I mean, neither do I. But I.
Am
Okay.
I the only-
No, I haven't. I haven't been.
I guess I guess I was making an assumption.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe not. Maybe like a Ken doll. It should be fine. It'll be like action. When we make action figures of Scrimshaw, they'll be like anatomically accurate.
Yes. Well, that was rather strange line of questioning.
You did kind of just volunteer that fact, but anyway.
Well, you asked the question.
I didn't ask anything. Yes, from here. If Tail, oh, it's going to be so weird not calling him Grimshaw. If Tail is going to be potentially confronting the Spider Queen and getting into a scuffle, possibly, it could serve as a decent distraction. If he gets her attention, but I don't know whether he intends to just flat out attack, whether he intends to sneak
might.
in the night and assassinate her, steal something. I don't know what he has planned, but
You might expect us to be a distraction.
he could.
We have to contend as well with the possibility, and the Tail will be the one to retrieve the hammer in the first instance, in the event he is as powerful as he may be.
And fighting him could be difficult if we can't use our magic. If I can't so much as use my, if I can't even so much as use my weapon.
I can only whack him.
I mean, you'll be fine, but
I can still insult him, but it probably won't hurt him anymore.
we'll only do emotional damage.
It'll only do emotional damage.
Yeah,
Yes,
can only be healed by therapy.
I
downtime, you had to go find a psychiatrist.
Yeah. I fear there is not much we can do at this current time. Maybe we should scry on him a bit more often. We know that it works around the orb, we just know that he will figure out rather quickly.
That's a point, actually. We were able to scry on him before. Presumably, the scrying sensor is a magical thing. Why
That only
did
let
that
us do it.
work then? That would imply that this anti-magic field isn't persistent.
Perhaps I'm maybe one to ask the storm.
His sword hurt my head.
Perhaps. If communing before we head to bed is on the cards, then by all means.
Well, when I say little while, I actually communed internally last night. What other questions would we want to ask?
Who's gonna win the horse races?
No.
Who's going to win England versus Italy?
Is it coming home?
Is it coming home? Amazing. Do have two more questions. Anything spring to mind?
If there's a way to get to Shrek without fucking up the guards?
Well,
Or
I
being
think
fucked
the
up by the guards?
answer will likely be yes, but I don't think it's going to give us an answer that's going to be particularly useful.
Could ask if Tail intends to attack the Spider Queen.
Perhaps. We know that it seeks revenge and that the Spider Queen is an ally of Ashigal, so one would assume he has no good intentions for the Spider Queen. But I am happy to ask that question, if you so desire. Sorry, what was the first question I was asked?
If the anti-magic field was persistent.
Ah. So was the anti-magic shield persistent? Would that provide the answer we need?
I think so.
Okay, yeah.
We could ask if he's bullshitting Scrimshaw.
Can Tail be trusted?
I think.
Mind, I feel like that would
is
just come
almost
back
certain.
with
Yeah, maybe. Okay, trust it to do something specific.
If he was telling the complete truth to Scrimshaw.
Okay. I mean,
Perhaps
I
was
doubt
he
it.
deceitful about our past.
Yep. Last one. Gira turns to Warner and also to Glimmin. Sorry. Glimming Glau. I don't know if he's there. Is he not there? No, he's. Or did he? Is he?
Gamma and Glear.
Thorgorth and Gamongleer both left, didn't they?
Oh, okay. Glamaglear's also gone now. Okay.
Yeah, Gamongleer left a while back.
Okay. All right.
Wait, did they
Anyone
leave,
else?
like,
Skira's still in the blankets.
did they leave,
Yes,
or
yes.
just go to bed, leave?
Well, Thorgorth left to his quarters in a half, and Gamongleer just shuffled out after a while.
Okay, so they're still around. They're just not here.
I mean, they're in their quarters.
In their quarters, they will find like a painting of the other one.
Wow.
Like a very romantic one as well, like that, like they've got like a rose in their mouth. Kind of suggestively looking through the painting. Like,
Okay, maybe the last question can be, I don't know. We could just say 2. I mean, it's not the end of the world.
if Aaron Shant is a dick,
Okay.
Is
Alright.
Aaron Shander in the Feywild? Why can't we just go and find him?
he's not. I thought he was in
He
hell.
He could be found by going to the Black Gate of Rada Alora, which is in the Feywild. I believe
Oh.
guarded by Ashigal.
No shit. Why is he in hell? If Ashgal's a demon, gonna be in the abyss.
I don't know how. Wait, this is.
I
We also
I don't
we
know how
also
the cosmology
don't know.
works in this world.
I mean, we don't know
Yeah.
that he's in hell.
Very
We don't-
stereotypical of you to assume that Ashgar would stay in hell forever and ever.
Yeah, and I don't know if like hell and the abyss are things here, or if it's just one big thing, or
Yeah, the different like planes are more
Yeah,
like
7.
locations, really. Like the you could yeah, like the yeah. It's make a religion check for me, one of you.
Shall I
I
do it?
shall. Can I get advantage with it because
Both-
plan
but-
out travel's
alright,
my
actually,
thing.
Both you and Gira can both do one. No, just straight up roll.
Okay.
Oh,
August.
That is
pretty
ultimate pog. Yeah, so you know that Chinook, that like the Feywild isn't necessarily a place. It's more of like a series of places that have similar characteristics as such, and also that the cosmology is actually fairly flat. Like it's not multiple planes. It's more like certain bubbles almost in the universe.
Like a hallway with multiple doors.
Yeah, sort of. So like in the middle of every sort of like what we would call as as like a certain plane is like the far realm. And the far realm is like just this completely chaotic area, and there where order has like arisen is like the different planes. So like
in the center of all the planes is this chaos thing.
yeah, and you could technically, like, if you were to travel through the far realm, like on a spelljammer or something, you could go to another plane without teleporting. It's just that those spells take you to the different areas,
Right. So it's like
which is also why beings from the far realm are constantly spilling into the other planes, because they're like traveling from the far realm into those planes.
Do we know what an example of a creature from the far realm is?
Yeah, a beholder.
Okay. As you do.
Yeah,
Okay.
and like illithids and all the stuff with space basically that you've seen so far is like is somewhere in the far realm.
so the other planes are basically just really far away, but the the plane shift and that is kind of like wormholes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not like different levels. The only thing that could be really described as a different level is like the astral plane, which is like perpendicular to everything else. But so like you can be in the astral plane in the Feywild, for example.
Right.
Yeah, it's like a. Oh wait, no. I think I'm thinking of the ethereal plane.
Does that mean that Vondel Ghost was actually was a space ghost?
Very possibly.
Space ghost.
Space Ghost.
Yeah, that creature you fought there was from the far realm.
Yeah.
What about
Space Ghost.
Ashen? Is Ashen from the far realm?
Yeah, as well.
What about
Oh my god.
I feel like this is a bit of a no.
What about mind flares?
Yeah.
Yeah, because illithid.
Anything?
Oh yeah, you did say that.
I assume any aberrations.
Off from space.
Or
Yeah,
the far
it's-
realm. We don't know it's
Space
space.
Ghost.
Yeah, like the far realm and space are interchangeable.
Okay. And what about Espin? Not Espin. What's it called? Esper? The planet thing.
Oh, the big
Um,
dead planet that's alive,
the
but
planet
also
born dead.
dead.
Atropos?
No, it's not Atropos. I renamed it.
Oh shit.
Okay, so we don't know.
Yeah.
I remember. I swear we heard we
Yeah,
read
yeah,
it.
Estar.
Estar. That's it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Those are my notes somewhere. There it is. The world born dead.
Why did I have to come upon a different name and
Yeah.
to remember instead of the real one?
Yeah, Richard was metagaming and
I didn't look it up. We were having a conversation with
I
other
know, I
people
know.
and someone happened to mention it and I was like,
Give
wait,
me-
that sounds familiar.
Yeah,
yeah.
my game.
So actually, you've mentioned the far realm a few times before, Mike.
I have. I have mentioned it throughout the whole campaign.
Yeah. So like Manarax is also.
Yes, he's a
Yeah, which is why when you saw Manarax, you were like looking through space, like,
Okay, this makes sense. Okay, sorry. Yes.
and like
Right,
you saw like galaxies and stuff like that. Like effectively, like yeah, throughout the universe, there's like there's places where it's chaotic and lawless, and there's places where order has sort of like evolved, and usually that's through the hands of various gods and powerful beings that have done that. But like ultimately, all the gods appeared at some point in the Far Realm as well.
Okay.
Cool. Well, yeah. So, is there anything else you wanted to? Oh, you wanted to commune, didn't you?
Oh yeah. There was we had a couple questions.
Okay. Do you have a third? I mean, you could just ask about anything. You don't have to ask particularly.
Yeah. No. I'll
Ask the storm how it is.
Hey Storm, how's it going?
I got it. I got it. Alright. I'll commune.
I think we might have done that last time.
So Gira does it. He kind of shuffles out of the pile of blankets, and just kind of sits on top of it, I guess. So he's kind of like this mound of blankets, kind of sat cross-legged,
It's
kind of meditating. It's like pink blankets with like little bunnies on them, and suddenly his eyes kind of flicker. 1 minute fine, and the next kind of icy kind of blue, with kind of sparks, kind of almost feel like you can see them. And around him, it gets very kind of staticky. Gira casts commune.
Okay. As you retreat down to that meditation state, in where you visualize yourself sat on top of a mountain, storm raging around you, everywhere. As the commune holds, the storm suddenly stops raging, and you see around you that you have entered the eye of the storm. As the sort of winds, a few hundred meters away of raging rapidly, you feel nothing but a light breeze carry you. And as you focus, you get this connection with the being that is the Tempest. It seems like it is open for questioning.
Kira kind of shouts out, kind of, "Oh, mighty storm, I am but your humble servant. An orb, held by the one known as Tail. You, omnipotent being, would have known what I saw. Was the anti-magic shield persistent?"
The storm begins to flicker and lightning streaks across the sky in front of you. The humidity seems to rise, and you feel sort of like a pressure like applied to the air around you. It's coming across more of a no.
I thank you for your message. I have two further questions, if I may. Was Tail being deceitful about his and Scrimshaw's past?
The storm begins to waver, and you notice that the eye of the storm begins to break, and the clouds begin to clear slightly, but there's still a lingering sort of breeze, like blow in the area. It seems to come across as an unclear, like you're not quite sure, or it's not quite sure.
Thank you for your kind advice. Finally, am I on the right path? My purpose.
The storm rages rapidly. You see multiple sort of like mini tornadoes begin to spin in concentric circles around you. It seems that the storm is guiding you to your purpose as a yes.
Let it be so. The storm I will trust to my end of days. And Gira kind of like, I guess he starts to feel the kind of ethereal, ephemeral kind of plane of eye of the storm kind of dissipate a bit. And it's being exchanged by a very comfy selection of blankets underneath him. That slowly he kind of feels again. The humidity drops, and he's kind of got his eyes closed, or feels like they're closed, even though it might be kind of blue to other people. And he kind of regains his eye movements, and he's back in the mansion. Well, the storm answered our questions.
Didn't know you could do that in here. I thought you had control over the atmosphere here, Chinook.
Well, if Gira is correct about the storm being the ever-present energy, is that it? Whatever the fuck the storm is. It's probably here, because this place is full of energy.
I don't know if the storm exists across the plane. It's entirely possible. But I have not inquired to ask.
I mean, it answered your questions here, so...
Perhaps. In any case, came back with answers that would be fairly predictable. I only asked 2 questions. The third question was not particularly helpful, but me, I suppose. The first, no, the anti-magic shield is not persistent. Second, was Tail being deceitful about his and your past. Even the storm was not sure if that was or was not the case. But it did confirm that I, at the very least, am on the right path to complete my purpose. So I take that as assurance we are on the right track.
You're on the right track.
Indeed. Why, are you a servant of the storm too?
No, what I mean is, if we're on the right... If just you being on the right track doesn't mean that the rest of us are on the right track by definition.
Perhaps not, but that is not my quarry.
I don't serve anyone besides Akul and my own whims.
Then you'll know if Akum suddenly told you to do something else, you would obviously abide by it.
Well, I feel like yours is because you're talking about an ever-present manifestation of the energies of the universe. Mine is a deranged archfey who will probably seal my mouth or tear out my tongue.
And probably would do that if he heard you calling him deranged.
Perhaps. Then again, he is a member of... He is the Fae, so... he might consider it particularly charming. The Fae people are quite contrary.
So if we call him a nut job, he'd be fine with it.
I just think, Roxanne, that when we meet him, you and I should just not say anything.
I think that's actually really fucking smart.
What we do is we stand at the back and we're the muscle, okay?
Yeah, muscle.
So we say nothing.
Yeah.
Say absolutely nothing unless he talks to us, okay? And then even then, choose words carefully.
Near
I mean,
your
Starts
sunglasses.
talking to me, I'll just ignore him.
Mona,
And Gira,
this is...
no modify memory.
Please
No.
don't modify the memory of my
I
super
would like to put-
powerful
Well,
master.
well, hold on. I would like to put this straight. I have always been very keen that my use of modified memory is only for the greater good and in use of the Storm's will.
Like when you changed that guy's name.
Like I said before, that was the will of the Storm.
The storm told me.
The Storm told you to
No.
change his name to Declan.
No, officer, I
In-
swear. The storm told me to do it.
Do you doubt my faith? It is a serious and grave accusation you make.
Can I insight check Gira to see if he's like trying to tell a joke or not?
Sure. Roll an insight check.
Hang on.
Am I rolling back?
Yeah, deception. Or unless you're not deceiving.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, Gira genuinely believes it, even if he's managed to kind of rationalize it as the case.
Right. The Storm. The Storm's got a sense of humor.
I don't think it has a sense of humor at all. It's merely doing what the universe needs to do in order for it to carry on.
Didn't he like die the next day?
Perhaps, but if we did not change his name, then he would have died in the wrong place. And we wouldn't be here now, would we?
And in a way,
I'm pretty sure.
he was scattered to the winds. Winds
Into the
storms,
flow of nature.
became one with the storm.
Yeah.
Ah, yes, the grand old pentagon of existence.
It is not our business, Shonak, to question the will of the elements and the primordial forces of this universe. Ours is but to serve and follow, and to ensure the proper flow of time is continued. Jesus, I sound like the TVA. Sorry, it's a copyright strike thing. But...
The TVA wants to know your location.
For a moment, I thought I was listening to BBC Radio 4.
Hey, look.
Fair enough. Well, so, you getting your answers from the Storm may have been helpful, may not have been as helpful as planned. But what are your plans for the next day?
Give up and go home.
Well, there is only one route, and that is the route that our kind friends provided us.
Well, I believe there were multiple routes actually. There was the main road with the that will probably be guarded, but if we did want to just brute force our way through, it might be possible. We could stick near the main path, but try and keep off to the side, out of view. I don't know how feasible that is. Or we could try and find these Mistral tunnels and hope we don't get lost.
I think the tunnels are they're a good idea in principle, but we don't know where one is, and we don't know where to go as soon as we go in.
Could always ask the Storm for guidance.
Well, I don't think a yes or no would be very helpful.
If we come to a fork and don't know which way to go, and should we go this way?
Well, I feel that would only work 5 times or so.
And we can't exactly expect the storm to tell us at every single turning. We sometimes need to make our own decisions, regardless of, you know.
Oh, you think we make our own decisions? That's amusing. Anyway.
We do make our own decisions. Sorry, I just felt like stirring the pot. Carry.
But, my vouch is the road. And if we must diverge towards the outpost, then I'm okay with that.
This is feeling very Minds of Moria.
Yeah. A snowstorm suddenly hits the path.
I do want to remind everyone that we still have to go and get this Elder Brain, you know, soon. When
Oh yeah.
Valerial's back.
It's on our list. We're getting there.
Yeah, I mean, I think the other brain is after, immediately after we finish up here, right?
I thought we were going to the Feywild after.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Can't do too much.
I thought we would go back to the Frostbeat plagues of
we
fear
have some time before our and Illyria return, but
we also need as much assistance as we can to defeat the Elder Brain. I fear I'd be rather useless without my hammer.
Spider. Sorry.
you'll see a lot of those as we get up here.
I know. It's fine. It's only a small one. Some money spider. It just made me jump. Sorry, carry on.
Chinook chuckles as having the choice to put spiders in his tower.
Yes, I think he's maniacally cackling.
Sorry. Need to sneeze.
Okay, so in that case, if there's nothing else, the night passes, and the next day, after waking up and doing your morning ablutions and getting ready, you exit the tower, and you know something's accidentally turning to leaves that you forgot to take out of your pockets. Thorbrath and Gamronglir seem like Thorbrath still seems in a bit of a huff, and Gamronglir is not really talking. But Thorbrath says, "Well, in that case, this is where we leave you. I hope you don't get yourself killed up in the Spiderlands."
This is where you
to
leave
me.
us, and I pull a leaf out of my pocket.
I like you.
Anyway, it was lovely having you along.
Yeah,
Yeah.
careful on your way back. Well, we saw it was out there.
And there's always a room at my mansion for you.
Well, thanks for the offer. Anytime you're in Thurum.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
we'll say thank you very much for leading us here.
Yes, thank you.
Good
Sorry,
I
luck.
wonder if I can turn my magical mansion into a pub crawl.
I think you should definitely try.
I should, shouldn't I?
Yes.
A pub.
Gamronglir
a pub
nods
crawl
to you all.
involve multiple locations.
I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, sorry, Gamronglir nods to you all, and then the two of them make their leave.
I can make several smaller pubs.
So, I mean, any food that we eat in your mansion, we're eating leaves.
No, you get all the nutrients from it. It's just, you know, if you try and take stuff from the mansion, then it just turns into leaves.
What if you throw it
all
up?
tastes
Would
the
you
same.
throw up leaves?
No, you would not. It's a matter of intent, or lack of intent in the case of when you forget that you've put things into your pockets. It's if you're willingly taking something or unknowingly taking something that hasn't been directly consumed, then it just leaves.
Nice.
Right, so I don't think we actually decided which way are we going to go. I mean, obviously we need to go east, but we can set off. Discuss this on the route. But
How will we measure 30 miles?
front door, follow the. Like, how do we want to do this thing?
I think the least conspicuous way.
So you're for the tunnels then?
I mean, there's that. I've just had a terrible idea come through my head.
Does it involve teleporting?
I could teleport us there, sure. But Spiderlands, these weird. I imagine the guards. I don't want to assume, but I'd imagine there's some form of drow, right?
I don't know. Why would you assume they were drow?
Anything. There's surely Mystrian or
Be spiders.
spider versions of Mystrian.
Yes, Thorboth said that a lot of the Spider Queen's followers are dwarves.
Well, regardless, I could perhaps cast Disguise Self on myself and turn into some form of guard and take you all prisoner and, say, oh, these lot, they're on the way to Arakatar for punishment. They did some very bad stuff, and then they'll let us through.
I'm not 100% sure they'll buy you having all of us as prisoners just by yourself.
I will pretend to be a very strong dwarf. Like the Roxxon of dwarves.
No, that's not possible.
I think you can say the Rock of dwarves.
Mona, you could also potentially sneak into the keep and try and procure some documents or get a sense for any prerequisite checks we might need to come through as prisoners, or anything that might aid in our, journey through.
Yeah, sure.
Do any of you does anyone else here know the Disguise Self spell?
I used to, but I forgot it.
I could put a hat on. Does that count?
I am proficient with a disguise kit.
Ooh. Yes.
Proficient
disguise.
enough to make yourself look like a dwarf?
What, me?
Probably not. I'm not that good at walking on my knees.
I could give it a go.
I could.
I would home rule that if you upcast Disguise Self, you can cast on more people.
Okay, sure.
It's quite strange that it doesn't have that. As
Who here has
I could do dwarf. I could do a dwarf impression.
But are you persuasive, my dear friend?
I am extremely persuasive.
I was more
I'm very
referring to
persuasive.
Roxxon.
For some reason, my Vondel voice is Welsh now.
Vondel really has been to the far realm.
There's just a lot of sheep there.
Hey, I tried. I can't do it anymore. Oh my god, it's gone. Oh well.
What? Vondel's voice?
Yeah.
Okay, well, he's been. I mean, actually, today is our 2-year anniversary, so.
Of
lol.
killing Vondel.
No, just of the campaign.
Oh, okay.
I
I was
forgot
just
to
going to
say
say, have you marked that as an event?
Oh, that was an event for sure. I do know the day. Anyway,
Best day in Mike's life.
yeah. It's on my calendar. So. Yeah, I'll rule that you can upcast Disguise Self, because if you can upcast Invisibility, like, you should be able to upcast that.
Okay. Well, how many of us want to be dwarves? I feel like me and Scrimshaw should be dwarves, because
Hey, I want to be a dwarf.
I think that would be a
Could you
terrible idea.
Disguise him as
Roxanne.
2 dwarves?
What, like in a trench coat or something?
No, just like draw us a dwarf on his dwarf face on his stomach, and he could
I-
clench his abs to move the mouth.
I'm afraid.
So cursed.
I'm afraid that disguise self probably
Very-
wouldn't actually work on Roxanne from the time that I actually remembered how to cast it. They can only make you a foot shorter, and that would make you what, 7 feet tall?
Roughly. I could be a tall dwarf.
That's a
That's a
giant
person.
dwarf. Wait,
I'm the world's
wait.
tallest dwarf.
Wait, is that are you just inferring that that would be a person as opposed to a dwarf?
You know, like a human
Okay,
person.
okay, here we go. Ring fight. Ding, ding, ding.
Well, I'm, 5'11" ish. So, if you maybe a foot shorter, I'd only be 4'11".
Yeah, then you'd definitely be a dwarf.
So meta. So meta.
No.
More making fun of Joanne.
Yeah,
That's
that's what I'm talking about.
Okay, right. Let's. Is that works then, right?
I'm
Let's
fine
strategy
to
Being,
works.
so.
being disguised.
Are we doing it now? How long does it last?
Guys, so last
An hour.
an hour.
So,
Yeah,
so
I
we
think
do
we're gonna-
do it when we get there, not
Yeah,
an
but
hour.
I'd still like to know who I'm turning into a dwarf and who not to turn into a dwarf.
I'd
What
say
if the
don't.
What if the conversation goes on for more than an hour?
Perhaps everyone except Roxanne and Morna.
I'll need to upcast a fair bit.
It's just that
Why
the
not me?
it's just that you're the only two which are relatively nondescript. I mean, Goliaths aren't super common around here, but it's a dime a dozen compared to a Dragonborn and me.
Yeah. I mean, I think the idea of someone being an outsider is a good idea because, we've found these people trying to invade.
Ah, yes.
What if our friend, Tail, has developed a relationship, and then all of a sudden reports of a Goliath or a Dragonborn are coming in? I think if it's a human, it's much more likely that the alarm might not be tripped so quickly.
Oh,
I'm failing to see the logic here.
Well-
humans are boring.
Well, more common, at the very least. If Tail gets wind that a Dragonborn is wandering around the lands, well, I think that might put 2 and 2 together, whereas if it's...
I mean, he's trying to kill the Spider Queen.
Well, for sure, but that does not mean that he wouldn't betray us or something like that. Anyway, just a thought to add into the mix.
Perhaps betray us to gain her trust, and then betray her trust.
The most charismatic among us should be dwarves, because then we're more able to trick them.
I've got good persuasion, so you'll probably want me as a dwarf.
Oh, I'm so charismatic. I'm great at talking to people.
Hey, I'm really good at convincing people to do things. So,
Okay, so all of us besides Roxanne and Morna are turning into dwarves.
wow. You'll regret that decision.
Okay, and so we want to head down the road east for 30 miles. Yeah.
Oh my
Um,
god.
And then we need to go 1 north until we reach. Oh no, sorry. There's the fork that we're gonna follow, going north.
Yep.
Until we reach. Okay, so we need to head 30 miles east.
Yeah, I think basically a day's travel east, and then set out from there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, who's leading the party?
Warner.
Who's got the best survival?
I.
3.
I got
Hang
I
on.
got +4.
Hang on. To
All right.
survival, I have also +4. It's not one of those special baddie things.
I have apparently 5. The modifier.
Just wisdom.
Oh right, yeah, that's why.
Right, well, Gira it is. I suppose it's fitting for Gira to lead the party into the Spiderlands.
Can I can I assist him with my proficiency in survival?
Sure. Yeah, so Gira, make a survival check for me with advantage.
Okay.
Ooh.
Okay, cool. So, yes. So after traveling through the now quite rocky terrain, the bulk of the wilderness to the south of you, you now can sort of see a fair distance over the canopy. And you notice that some trees stick out very high over the canopy, sort of casting a shade over the other trees below. Eventually, following the dwarves' instructions, you make your way to the fork in the road and you head north. As the valley gets rockier and more mountainous, and to either side of you are almost impassable walls of sheer rock. However, you don't feel like you're being watched. You don't feel like necessarily anyone is particularly invested in this venture of yours. And then it opens up, and you begin to feel that now you are in the Spiderlands itself, in a sort of like big sort of bowl, almost like a valley, quite high up in the air. And as you travel through there for a bit, it begins to close off, and then at the end, there's this sort of like old ruined watchtower that has a wall that sort of like covers the entrance to the next valley, which is sort of like long ago been knocked down, and now there are just sort of like some wooden sort of posts attached to them, so just so people can go up and have a watch. But you seem from this area you are fairly well covered. There's a lot of like mountainous cover for you, so you don't necessarily feel like you've given your position away at all.
There
Okay.
it is.
So me, Gira, and Scrimshaw, we're dwarves.
May I just suggest first that Lorna potentially has an investigation through the ruins to see if she can find out any information on the doings of this land?
I can. How dark is it?
It's going to get dark in the next hour or so.
Yeah, if you wait until it gets dark, then I can go investigate it with invisibility. Because yeah, I don't need spells to be invisible, unlike you guys.
So it's just setting, would that make it currently dim light?
Oh. Oh yeah, sorry, I meant to ask if it was dim light, not if it was dark. Cool, in that case I can go now. I will go invisible then, and
Invisible.
invisibly, and have a wander into the castle. The castle, the fort.
The
Okay.
tower.
Sorry.
So, beginning to go towards the tower, as you get closer, you notice there's maybe about 5 or 6 dwarves, dressed in like black armor, that fully covers their heads and bodies. The armor itself seems to be quite weird. It has like little spikes or studs all over it, and over the top is like a sort of thin, maybe silk mesh. It's vaguely reminiscent of a spider web, although it'd be quite impractical to maintain a spider web on you. But you seem to think that this is some sort of ceremonial dress of theirs. As you begin to make your way up to the tower, you notice a couple more dwarves are entering, and they're sort of having a conversation. But we'll leave off there, shall we, for today, as it is done. So you are, currently having a spy around the tower.
Cool.
Okay.
Spy.
Yeah. Richard, if you want to sort out the end of the stream.
A spire.
Yo, dispeed end. 3,
One.
2, 1.